What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 63 of Lobbing Scorchers. This is Ari Lilienwall. I got producer Noah here with me. And Noah, we've got the best dub pod of the season today, I think.
This was the most unexpected, but also the most MLS dub pod we will ever and may ever see in our entire lives, to be honest.
That's right, folks. We have an incredible dub pod for you this evening. We're recording this on Monday evening as the Seattle Sounders took on the Columbus Crew at lower.com field, and a highly comedic and entertaining series of events unfolded. I've never seen anything like this game before, and I frankly don't think we're ever going to see this again. This is a novel event. You could follow this league for another 100 years, and you will probably never see this. So it's going to be a great show. By the time the game was all said and done, the Crew had a fullback in goal. No, a center back. They had a center back in goal. Albert Rusnak had a hat trick. The Sounders had 4 goals, and Wilfried Nancy was about as mad as I've ever seen an MLS coach. Everyone knows that we love a blazing hot coach presser on this show, and we got a great one. I will tell you what, I got sent that audio last night, and I said to myself, this needs to be posted immediately.
Yes.
So I transcribed it, and I tweeted it out, and nuked my mentions, but I mean, I had to.
It was worth it. Was it worth it?
I mean, as a proponent of blazing hot MLS coach press conferences, this was right up my alley. And there was actually 2 in MLS last night, believe it or not. Caleb Porter of the New England Revolution gave one that was arguably hotter. I didn't think that I would get one MLS coach press conference as hot as Wilfried Nancy's all season, and I got 2 in the same night. So just feeling blessed, really excited to record about it. We're going to break down everything that happened in our game review. We got our agenda check to hit. We're going to talk, we're going to get to your questions that you all sent. And there was a couple other games around MLS last night. And we're going to hit very briefly some U.S. men's national team punditry. That's right, yes, the fraud squad, the U.S. men's national fraud squad was back in action. We're not going to give them too much time because they did not really do much to merit it, but we are going to talk about their friendly versus Canada. So, yeah, it's going to be a great show. I think this might be our best ever show, man. I really just can't wait.
For me personally, regardless of how this sounds, this could be the worst audio you ever hear. For me personally, this is it. This is it. This
is sort of like our magnum opus, I think, this game. I feel like this game was designed for Lobbing Scorchers content.
Correct.
I couldn't believe what I was watching as I was watching it. And then you threw the presser on top of it. It was just unreal scenes. So yeah, we're going to dive into our game review shortly. But before we do that, I wanted to let you know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/LS. That's sounderatheart.com/LS. Scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. No, I kind of liked it when you did the names on the last one. You want to hit?
Should I go for it again? Well, see, I wasn't even prepared, but don't you worry.
See, the reason I did that is because I wasn't prepared either. So
I got it saved right here.
You got that bookmarked.
I had it bookmarked, Ari. I'm prepared because when the call comes, I'm there to answer.
As always, yeah, we really appreciate all our subs. Love you guys. Noah, rattle off the list.
Our list is getting extra long. We are at 30 right now, so let's start it off here with Kenneth Wade, Joey Pasquinelli, David McCoy, Owen Mason, Daniel Pavado, Samuel Fout, Ian Mitchell, Christopher Smith, Norm Bontier, Thomas Martin, Greg Hoker, Chris Maley, Andy Hill, Mike Lentini, Norm Bontier, David Rodriguez, CJ and Miles Marinakis.
My nephews.
There we go. Mark Ottinger, Zach Heckman, David Pope, Brian Morton, Clara Berger, Robert Singh, Tyler Nakatsu, Steve Hudson, Choska, Patrick Sexton, Aryemar, John Hatmaker, Imani Bach, and Justin Walker. Folks, who will be 31? What's a famous 31?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of that. I don't know if there is one, but either way, the drive to 31 subs, we just need one of you out there to go to sounderatheart.com/LS, subscribe under our link, and that helps us out so much, and we love all you guys who have already done so. And also, as always, if you are listening to this and you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the Lobbing Scorchers YouTube. We're doing pretty well on there still. We're on the drive to 550 subs. We hit 500 before our last show, so help us on the drive to 550. It's going to be such a fire show tonight. I think we're going to rack some YouTube subs off this. But thank you to everyone who's helping us grow on that platform. And shout out to our new audience on there. These video pods that we've been doing have been doing pretty well, like better than I expected. And
For sure.
We appreciate you guys. Also, drop it in the comments section, even though it's a lot of the time to cook us. That's fine.
We're here for it.
Yeah, we're here for it. In fact, I think we're going to address a disgruntled comment. There's a couple. It seems like every episode there's a couple disgruntled commenters. But
For sure.
That's I'm in favor of that. So just don't stop cooking us on my account. All right, let's get into this game review. We hyped it up a lot, so we got to talk about this game because this was a great game. It was just a great game. It was a great dub. It was one of my favorite dubs of the last 2 years, I would say, both from an entertainment perspective and a comedy perspective, and just the result perspective. Everything about it was phenomenal. And that shout out to the Columbus crew. That's the first thing I'm going to say about this, because they delivered this content by employing an interesting strategy before this game. This is a new tactic. I haven't seen many, if any, MLS teams ever do this. On their game day squad, they did not have a number 2 goalkeeper. They went into this game with just one goalkeeper, Abraham Romero.
Who?
Yeah. So you might be thinking to yourself, you might be wondering, Ari, why would an MLS team go into a game with no backup goalkeeper on their squad? Yeah, great question. Great question. And there was a whole story behind that, as it turned out. I wasn't even aware that this was as hot button an issue, but Wilfried Nancy said afterwards he's been just seething about this all week, which makes it even funnier how it panned out, because I'm sure regardless of the reasoning, they went into the game thinking, whatever, we're just going to get through this one game with Romero in goal. And as long as he doesn't get a red card or injured, we'll be fine. And Abraham Romero, just shout out to him.
Thank you for the bit, brother.
Oh my God. So we
should start this. I think this is going to be it. Our first inductee to the Lobbing Scorchers Hall of Fame.
He's a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Famer for what he did in this game. I don't know why he did it, but yeah, anyway, we're gonna get to that. So it really popped off right before halftime, and it was 0-0 up until that point. But it's I kind of got lost in the shuffle, but I was actually really enjoying the game before everything hit the fan. I thought it was the teams were competing at a high level. I thought Seattle was actually playing pretty well as the road team in this scenario. It was pretty evenly matched, which, that's honestly not good for Seattle in the sense that they were playing a very undermanned Columbus team. We talked about it on the preview show. They didn't have Cucho. They didn't have Patrick Schulte or Hagen, who's their normal backup goalkeeper. They were both on international duty. And then Evan Bush, their third goalkeeper, also was injured. So that's why they had Abraham Romero in goal. Cucho was with Colombia. Morea, their really good fullback, was out. They had 5 or 6 guys out because of international duty or absences. So Seattle... they were missing a few starters too, but I would say Seattle's lineup was in theory stronger than Columbus, which gave us a glimmer of optimism that they could take a result in this game. But I think up until the red card, it was just a pretty good, evenly matched competitive game. That's how I saw it. Did you have anything on the first half other than that?
Honestly, no. I thought that it was a pretty even game. I thought it was going to be a Columbus will troll a 0-0 draw, be happy,
or poach a 1-0 or something. It looked like Seattle was going to do their XG merchant thing.
Yep.
Yeah. But at the point that the red card happened, I actually felt decently good about Seattle's chance of getting a result in the game. I thought they were playing pretty well, but no one had scored yet. And then
I thought the chance where he got the red card on was
so actually Seattle really should have had a goal before this all even went down.
Yeah.
Rothrock found Jordan for like a wide open look, like way earlier in the first half. And it's one with the form that Jordan's been in lately. Like I would expect him to finish. And he just missed it. But like that really could have and should have been a goal. So Seattle arguably like should have been in the lead by the time this red card happened. But let's break down the sequence on the red card. This was the first hot button event to occur in this game. All right. So I think the first thing to understand here is that Abraham Romero, he had one job in this scenario. Like, absolutely under no circumstances can you get sent off because you don't have a backup goalkeeper behind you. If you get sent off, a position player is going to have to go in goal, right? So he could not afford to do what he did, which was there was a ball over the top for Jordan Morris. Jordan Morris runs onto it. He gets behind the defense, and Abraham Romero. It was an epic run.
Yeah,
he flies in from off screen, and you could just see the collision course getting charted, and he just absolutely takes Jordan out. It looked like a forearm kind of to the head area to me, and I think there's a couple elements at play with why it's a red card. I mean, there's the challenge, which he forearms him to the head and neck area or whatever. And then also Jordan's like the last guy back too. So I don't know if it's outright dog still, but like the fact that he got taken out when he was in behind and the last guy on goal, I think probably factors into why that's a red card. But I think it's pretty clear straight red based on where the challenge happened and like the fact that he went high with it.
I was surprised the commentators, when it first happened, they didn't really... I don't even think it registered with them. It didn't seem like they really thought that it was a red card or anything. They were just like, oh no, a terrible collision.
And when I saw it live, I was like, is that?
Yeah, I immediately thought.
I think that's probably a little bit red. And then I saw Schmetz talking to the AR.
Oh yeah, you could hear Schmetz on the audio.
Schmetz was like, hey guys, I mean, that looks like a card that should be pretty red. And you could see Seattle's players were also like, okay, I think. And then it became kind of clear what was happening, and he gets sent off, and from there it was just a great time. Seattle proceeded to absolutely beat the shit out of the Crew. Rusnak scored a hat trick. He had one off the free kick that was awarded.
Yep.
So Sean Sawatsky, who's a center back / defensive midfielder, I think, for the Crew, he ends up having to go in goal, and the first thing he has to do is defend a Rusnak free kick from a pretty dangerous spot where Jordan got fouled. And, I was of two minds on this. I was like, okay, this is great for Seattle's chances of getting a result in the game, but this is also feels a little dangerous because they were even saying this on the broadcast. They were like, if Seattle doesn't win this game and pretty handily, that's like embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a midfielder in goal and you're up a man. Mm-hmm. So like you got to win this game. And I was like, okay, well, if Rusnak just buries this free kick right here, that would be a good start. Like you got a guy who's never played goalkeeper in an MLS game before trying to defend this free kick. So just get it by him right off rip. And that's exactly what Rusnak did. He stuffed the free kick. Honestly, man, like, I think there's a way better chance, obviously, that if it's Schulte or an actual goalkeeper in goal that it gets saved. But it was a good enough shot where I don't even know if they would have saved it. It was a really nice shot.
I thought it was placed really well. I don't know if it's Schulte or... I mean, Columbus has some great goalkeepers. Maybe they save it. Maybe they don't. But like it was...
Sawatsky had no chance.
Yeah, regardless, it was a great shot. It didn't hit the wall. He curved it around, side netting, great goal.
He did what he had to do in that situation was just get it on target. And like you could tell, and Schmetz alluded to this after the game. I mean, the game plan becomes just, there's no like percentages on your shots. Like just shoot as much as possible from wherever. So that was one element of this that was fun to watch because guys were just pulling up Steph Curry heat checking at times. Like Josh Atencio was getting in on it because like that's when on these rare occasions where you see a position player in goal, that's like what you have to do. You just have to shoot as much as possible and you're probably going to sneak a couple by them. It made me think about like, goalkeeping is like way harder than it probably seems because like this guy like going up against MLS attack that's been like pretty average at best, I think, this season. At times dynamic, but this is just like a relatively average MLS attack. And Zawadzki had no chance.
None.
And it was. I don't care that they were up a man with a center back in goal. It was phenomenal to watch. We can do our goal breakdowns, honestly, because there were some nice goals, even though they came against Sean Zawadzki. So Rusnak had the free kick right after the red card. Then the second one was Rothrock to Jordan. They actually
redemption.
They redeemed the one that they missed. Well, that Jordan missed in the first half.
God,
Rothrock,
I wish
Rothrock really should have had 2 dimes.
He should have had 2
dimes in this game. And
he canonically he has 2 assists in this game.
He's somehow he's like a deep side character in this game because of everything else that happened. But Rothrock was cooking.
Yeah, he was.
This was like probably one of his, if not his best game, like from front to back. So he assisted on the second JMO goal. Then the third one, you had Rusnak again from. It was one of his shots from outside the box, assisted by Atencio, I believe, for 3-0. And then the last one, I mean, this basically just became like a training ground drill.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looked like when they're going against like the practice dummies or just like the drill they do before the games at Lumen where they're just like crossing it in
they're
and
just
shooting
blasting it.
That's basically what it turned into. That's what this last goal from Jordan to Rusnak looked like. But
the finish was nasty.
It was a nasty finish. I'm not gonna lie. He the way he like turned.
He like lasered it off the outside of his foot. It was like
and
nasty.
I think Jordan's assist was outside of the foot too. So I mean, well taken goal. Obviously, had a center back in goal, but it was still like it was just so funny to watch because of what happened with the red card and everything. Wilfried Nancy after the game gave his press conference, and like I said, I got sent that audio. And
should we just play our favorite parts right here?
Yeah,
we'll just laser this in right now. Take a listen to, would you say, top contender for most Blazing Hot press conference of the year?
Easily.
Yeah. So again, we lost the game tonight, obviously, and my plan was to talk about a few stuff already, win or lose. I'm gonna try to be coherent because this is not for me. Yes, we lost today. I'm not happy with that, but I'm not happy also about the lack of understanding of a clear situations. So I'm going to explain myself. After tonight's game, we are at 39 matches played. We were mandated to have 3 goalkeepers on the team sheet for CCC. This is what we did. We had to use a call-up for a friendly game against Aston Villa. So why I'm not happy before the game? All the week it's happened, I was not happy about that. Because there is a rule, as you know, we can use only 4 times, 4 call-ups, 1 player from the reserve team who has a contract. As you know the issue that we had with the goalkeepers, with Evan Bush. So we tried to anticipate that. We tried for adding a 4th goalkeeper, knowing that we could have a situation like this today. And when we asked before the game to have another call-up for our goalkeeper for the reserve team, they said no. Knowing that this game, Seattle, we were supposed to play this game in March, around March. So for me, yes, we lost. But again, the MLS, the league, there is a clear evolution about the way we do things, the numbers of games that we have. There is addition for the Leagues Cup, there is addition for the World Cup, and so on and so on and so on. We are pleased with that. All year, when you ask me the question about how many games you're going to be tired, we have a lot of games and so on, I never complained. Because I said, we won. So this is the reward of the fact that we won. So we have games, and we are pleased with that. We are proud of that. But I cannot understand when there is a lack of coherence with a simple rules that why we don't use a call-up when we do the friendly game, the preseason game. We played Aston Villa, so Stas and Cole, we called them, they played 0 minutes. And we use all the 8 call-ups total for them. So what is the point? I'm not asking to ban the call-ups. I'm asking to add more call-ups. Because we have more games. This is impossible to think like that. For me, this is a lack of, I'm losing a bit my words in English, but this is not, this is, comment on dit malhonnêteté? This is dishonest. So we just ask to add a call-up because of the situation that I told you. We said no. They said no. But we use a call-up for the friendly game, and we are a club to develop players. So what is the message? Knowing that I can talk because we have a young team, and we are able to win with a young team, and we are able to do good things with the academy. I'm really proud of all the players I went with the national team. I'm not complaining. I don't complain about that. I have no problem with that. I do this job for that. But why are we going to sign a player, a young player, a professional contract for one game, knowing that this is not the moment to sign this player? Because what is going to happen? What we're going to sign this player? He's going to come in the locker room. He's going to be part of the group, but he's not ready for that. So what is the message for the young players in the academy? Oh, yes, I signed a player because I didn't have a goalkeeper or they didn't have a player. Hey, to become a professional player, sorry my language, but this is fucking difficult. Taha, we signed him. Cole, we signed him. But there is different pathway with that. Cole, we had to loan him. Because there is different pathway to become a consistent player. I'm not saying that we will not sign players. I like young players. That's why I'm here. I like also old players. But we should have consistency. It's a wrong message if we don't adjust that. With the number of games that we have, it's a wrong message. The league wants to add more young players. No problem. I started my career at 18 years old. But I stopped at 22 years old. Maybe I started too fast. Maybe I earned a lot of money when I was 18 years old, but at 22 years old, I had no more money. So what is the signal? So we're going to sign a player to give him a good salary? At 18 years old or 17 years old, instead of winning $30,000, we're going to give him a salary of $80,000. He's going to be happy, but at the end of the day, he will not play. There is different pathway for few players. So, the CBA, they have to understand that. And I'm not upset because we lost the game. I was upset already before the game, all week, because this is not coherent.
So yeah, that was Wilfried Nancy. I mean, he cooked.
Yeah, he cooked.
He absolutely cooked there. But let's talk about our reactions to this press conference. This is what I'm excited for because there is a lot of... let's talk about why he's mad, first of all, and just what happened with this rule. I think this is important to understand, to like get the full context of everything that happened here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible because I think it's a situation, it's one of those situations where people can overcomplicate things sometimes, and a lot of people are getting super in the weeds with the technicalities of the rule. And Jeremiah cooked.
Jeremiah
cooked hard because like when Jeremiah feels like that there's an erroneous point being made and he wants to disprove it, like he will go 2K words on your ass.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did on Sounder at Heart. Go read that for the breakdown of the minutia of it, because like I can't really explain it any better than he did.
Just even the headline, roster mismanagement led to the Crew having no backup goalkeeper.
Right,
Banger.
exactly. That's a banger. And also it goes against what a lot of the conventional wisdom in the narrative. Everyone in this situation likes to be like, Wilfried Nancy was speaking truth to power and sticking it to the man, and the league is like screwing Columbus over and all that. And Jeremiah just systematically took apart all of those arguments. So
the national pundits were definitely carrying water for the Crew.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So, but like I said, I'm gonna keep my kind of take on this right now, like as base level and simple as I possibly can. And basically,
well, you are an MLS shill. We gotta,
exactly.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so what happened was there is this rule. It's like basically a hardship rule where when you're playing over an international break and you already have like an injury and guys that are absent, you can call players up from your like reserve side and take that spot for like one game and then send them back down. And the thing is, you have an allotted amount of times that you can do that in a given season. And we're going to talk about why that rule is in place, but there is a reason behind why that is a rule. And the Crew used up all of their allotted times that they could do a call-up like this. And why they did that is subject to debate. I don't know if they did not like understand the rule, or if they didn't know the limit, or they thought, like Wilfried Nancy was saying, that they use call-ups for the friendly against Aston Villa. There was ways that they could have gotten around that, and they didn't do it. And on top of that, like even with the reality that they used up all their allotted call-ups, they could have gotten a number 2 goalkeeper on the roster for this game through multiple other means, which Jeremiah breaks down in his article. But there was like a way to do this where they could have, even with the call-up thing and having used all of them up, they could have gotten the backup goalkeeper on the game day squad for this game for not a lot of money. And I don't think like all that much effort, but I think what it seems to me, like reading between the lines as an outsider, that what happened here was that Wilfried Nancy was really upset about the rule, and he decided that I'm just not going to call up the backup goalkeeper for this game because I'm mad about what the league is doing right now. And we're going to get through it because I'm going to tell my goalkeeper just don't get a red card.
Yeah.
And
also,
like,
it's the Sounders.
Yeah, it's the Sounders. What are the real? We're at home. What are the real odds that the goalkeeper is going to get injured? That you don't see that all that often. It could happen, and if it does, we'll deal with it. But
well, you already have the PR narrative right there too. So
exactly. You can fall back on it if you do lose the game, and that happens, and you can use it to soapbox for your thing about the rule.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened here.
Yeah.
But Sean Zawatsky, he did what he could. He did what he could. He was competing out there, but he really, like I said, he really had no chance. But I don't know. Let's talk about like Wilfried Nancy's points of contention here, because like this could have been prevented easily. This could have been easily prevented.
Easily.
Am I taking crazy pills?
No, I don't think you're taking crazy pills. I think that it's very clear that there was a calculation made, right? There always is with coaching. They were either going to spend the money to sign a free agent goalkeeper, which they could have done for no more than $10,000, or they could have rode this one out with one goalkeeper, soapbox it, and complain because the thing that they hitched their wagon to, which was this short-term loan deal, was the only thing that they really thought to do, which they already knew they were not guaranteed to get this approved or not. So it's 100% on Columbus. And I totally understand the frustration from Columbus fans as well. Like, if I'm the Columbus Crew and I'm a fan and I'm sitting there, I'm like, we really lost this game because our goalkeeper was a defender, yeah, that sucks. And you lose the best part. They're basically out of the Shield contention now.
Right.
So
yeah.
like
they were playing for like to stay in the Shield race with Inter Miami.
Yeah, so I think with all of that together, as a fan, totally understand if you're mad. If you're Wilfried Nancy, you should be embarrassed. You fumbled the Shield because of your own mismanagement and because you either wanted to make a point or because you just didn't care enough to try different options. They could have signed someone in the hours before the match, made him be available for the game day roster, sat his ass on the bench, or even started him for one game, and you're good. You're good to go. But they didn't want to do that. They went with the narrative, and then the entirety of MLS social media, Twitter, Reddit, everything was on the Crew's side, which is incredibly dumb, and I'm sure that you'll elaborate.
I mean, they knew what the situation was, and it's your own fault. And then I think we should talk about the reason why this rule is in place, which is it's part of the CBA.
Yeah.
That was negotiated by the players union and the league. And the goal of it is to try and like protect the players from situations where the call-up rule gets abused, right? You can have situations where players are getting called up repeatedly. And I think they want to make it so there's a point where you just have to give them an MLS contract if they're getting called up on these like hardship situations.
Which
all
had
the time.
happened in the past.
Which, yeah, it's a thing that did happen. And like, every team is subject to that in the exact same way. Now, Columbus, Wilfried Nancy's point of contention was that like they've had so many games this year between Champions League, which they made it to the final of, Leagues Cup, which they made to the final of and won, and to go along with their league season, they've had a ton of games, and he claims that they had to use all these call-ups to accommodate like the other games and the fixture congestion that they had. But the thing is, if you read Jeremiah's article, there's no like evidence for that at all that I can see. There was situations where they used call-ups where they really did not have to.
Yeah.
Like the Aston Villa friendly. Why would you use one there? You don't need
could have
to do that. There's other ways. Like you have to like know the rule and like employ a way to get the other goalkeeper on your squad without having to use the call-up. Also, he was saying that they had to have 3 for the Champions League games.
Which is not true.
Which is not, like, if anyone
they
can
had to be
find
3
that rule,
rostered, but the reality was that's not the case. And even the Houston Dynamo only had 2 on their 32-man roster. You had to have 3 on the 32-man roster, but the game day roster, which is what those call-ups count for, you only need to have 2.
Yeah, so I don't...
It's again, like, that's on you. That's not on the league.
No, and like, I'm not like a big rule stickler kind of guy. Like I'm all for sticking it to the man or whatever.
But it's the opposite of sticking it to the man.
But like
you're sticking it to the player.
Yeah. But also, it's like if you adjust these rules just for one team, then like, do you not have to? You're kind of setting a precedent that the rule is like flexible, and that other teams are going to be like, well, wait a minute, why don't we get? So I think that's why they're trying to like. It might seem like they're being hard asses about it or sticking to it overly rigidly, but like I really don't think that's what it is. I think it's a situation where if you have this rule that's in place in the CBA, you're undermining the CBA that you negotiated if you start giving exceptions like that. So this didn't happen to any other team. This is the only team that I've ever seen this happen to, and they're not the first team to have fixture congestion with Champions League and Leagues Cup either.
Yeah, and
it didn't happen to anyone else. So, like I said, man, it's your own fault.
Well, it's just incredibly dumb too, because you are essentially making an argument that the rule where you shouldn't be able to call up a player on a $10,000 salary, playing him like he's an $80,000 minimum player. That's stupid. Like if the league minimum now is like what, 81, 82,000 a year. The league minimum in Next Pro, I think you can just go by game check. So it's like the idea that you could essentially skirt around roster rules and restrictions by just pumping your Next Pro team and then just doing these small call-ups. That's dumb. That's dumb. And these rules are in place for a reason, to protect the players so they're not getting, abused. And I thought it was even funnier because he mentioned, he's like, well, why would I sign a goalkeeper he's young.
They're
not ready. Then why would you bring him up to play for the first team 4 times? 4 call-ups, right? 4 different call-ups. You brought him up. What's the difference? What's the difference?
Yeah, it's a good question.
The short-term loan versus that, what's the difference?
I wanted to talk about some of the discourse in the aftermath of this because Crew fans were like way more mad.
So salty.
They were way saltier about it than I was even expecting. You know, if this happens to my team, like I would honestly be irritated with the club first and foremost, but I would be like, you know what? I mean, we kind of got owned on that one. We owned ourselves on that one. Our coach owned our own team. That's tough. On to the next one. I mean, Columbus is an MLS Cup contender this year. I do understand what you were saying. Like it sucks that this happened to them like in the middle of the Shield race, but you know, that's like I said, that's like your own fault. But like there's a lot of talking points going on. There's a clash between Crew Twitter and Sounders Twitter that I kind of just took in from the sidelines. But there's a few points that I wanted to bring up. And you know, if there's any Crew fans out there, go ahead and cook in the comments. It's fine.
Go for it.
Go for it. But okay, so there was at least one take, potentially more, of like the sentiment that Seattle, like, oh, Seattle, you should be super proud of bamming on a backup or on not even a backup, on a center
some
back,
random dude,
some random dude in goal. Like there's this like notion that Seattle was like flexing on the dub or like overly proud of it, which I don't really think is the case at all. You know, I mean, speaking for myself, but I think most people from the Seattle perspective of this would tell you that I don't think anyone's more or less proud of this dub than any other dub. It's more from the comedic value of the fact that like Columbus is a much better team than Seattle this year, and they're in the Shield race. And they literally, what Columbus did in this situation is they just took the 3 points that were up for grabs in this game and gift wrapped them and just handed them to Seattle. So I think most people in Seattle are just like, okay, I mean, we'll take those 3 points if you don't want them, I guess. And there was more takes that were like the Crew. Like, you know, Seattle is just about this like regular season dub. The Crew are about trophies.
Oh, that was so funny.
I mean, that maybe like I think they're used to being able to say that, and it like it hits. It hits
like they can hit that with LAFC
or FC Cincinnati even, like, which is their biggest rival. Like I think that's their talking point for FC Cincinnati fans. Seattle, I mean, that doesn't hurt us.
No,
like
they kept bringing up 2020, and I was like, guys, I legitimately don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
there was not an MLS Cup
no
played.
MLS Cup in 2020. It didn't happen that year, so I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about with that either. But like either way, I mean, I'll take Seattle's trophy haul over the last few years over Columbus's. I'll take it over literally anybody because it has CCL in it. Yeah. So like that just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, you can, if you want to go with the talking point that it's like past glory and Seattle is mid now, which was another talking point that got brought up. That is true, but that's exactly why it's funny. Yeah. Because we know that Seattle is mid better than Crew fans know that Seattle is mid. They're coming from that perspective by looking at the table. We're coming from that perspective having watched every single game this entire season and dating back to last season. So like that's definitely not news to us out here. Yeah. But like that's the reason why Columbus actually had a chance of taking points in this game if their goalie hadn't gotten a really stupid red card and their coach and organization that had the foresight to like not use all their call-ups so they could have had a backup goalkeeper for this game, which they didn't. So like I really frankly don't understand what like the whole point of contention there is. Like I said, I mean, I think from the Seattle perspective, it's just like your opponent screwed themselves over and gave you like the easiest 3 points of all time, which is hilarious in a situation where like Seattle had a stronger lineup out there than Columbus did, and Columbus was still playing him pretty much straight up. I thought they could have actually gotten at least a point in this game if they hadn't done that. And this is another point that I forgot to mention. I don't know, I'm going off here, but like it's another point that I forgot to mention, which is that like the none of this is an issue if he doesn't get that dumbass red card.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Like that's who you should be the most irritated with out of anybody, because Like, what is he doing?
That's the stupidest goalkeeper decision I've seen, I think, ever. That was just stupid. His defender had Jordan covered all the way for like another 20 yards past where he should be. And this man comes flying in off screen, RKOs him, bro. He had watched one too many Tim Melia highlights. Seriously.
He was absolutely hauling ass to get that red card. It was unbelievable.
Bro wanted that red card more than he wanted anything.
But I think I said earlier, but like your situational awareness just has to be more acute than that in that situation. He knows that there's no backup.
Yeah.
And he still goes out there and makes that challenge. So where does anything Seattle did even like come into the equation? Like that's like this is the decision making of your own coach and then your own fourth string goalkeeper who did the one thing that he just can't do. Yeah. Like you cannot get sent off in this game. And like he got like a no doubt about it straight red. Yeah. Which is just unreal. Yeah. The added comedy to all this is that while Crew fans were still seething over this today, like 4 guys from Seattle got on MLS Team of the Week. I think Jordan, obviously, Rusnak did, Atencio did, Christian did. So they're getting like all these individual accolades. And then after the Team of the Week came out, Rusnak got named Player of the Week for like the hat trick, even though it was all 3 goals were bamming on Sean Zawatsky, which
he could have saved one.
It's too bad. It was kind of funny how like anytime he made a save, like the crowd
they were going crazy, which I did. I respected that.
I respected
that
too. So anyway, all in all, just an awesome series of events. I loved every second of that game post red card. You tweeted the Mike Tomlin meme. That's how I feel like.
Yeah, we do not care.
We do not care. We do not care about the the extent to which the Columbus Crew believe they were wronged by MLS in this scenario. Like the Columbus Crew did this to themselves.
I was just shocked they weren't blaming the catering. Honestly,
exactly.
I thought that
every time it's always something. It's always something. Yeah, that's the other thing that upsets me is like Columbus fans, man. Like I
kind of get where Cincy's coming from.
I defended you though. I propagated your conspiracy theories about getting poisoned in the CCL final. I was on that train, and I even propagated the take that if you hadn't gotten poisoned, that you would have won CCL. I'm off that now. Ooh. You guys got boat raced in the CCL final. Get wrecked. Get bammed on.
Get clapped.
You got absolutely bammed on in this game. That's unfortunate. It's really too bad. But it was fun for us to watch. Yeah. But it's really probably the most blazing hot discourse day of the season. The transcript that I tweeted of the press conference, my mentions were a tire fire. So
I think that was like put in like 40 different internet articles too. Like I think that tweet was embedded everywhere. I do want to say one thing too.
Yeah, Cook.
I tweeted out someone quote tweeted me because I tweeted you're welcome LAFC, because as we know, we have this new contingent of LAFC fans. I'm peso pluma to them. You know, we've bridged the gap a little bit. And so they obviously don't like Columbus. They couldn't get it done against Columbus. And so we had to, a real team had to get it done against Columbus. So I just tweeted out, "You're welcome, LAFC." That set them off so hard.
You were deep in the trenches, and you were not taking the high road.
No, and not at all. And so someone quote tweeted me, "Seattle fans define success differently." And I was like, all right, this is perfect. So all I said is, this is correct. And I posted a picture of the Crew losing the CCL final next to the picture of the Sounders winning the CCL final.
Yeah, exactly. Like that,
and it's like, dog, come on.
Like that whole talking point of like, oh, we play for trophies and like you play for the regular. Like there's a lot of clubs you could say that to. And I think, like I said, I think they're used to saying that. Yeah. This is not like you have nothing on that.
Yeah.
You have nothing on that. Seattle's trophy haul over this last era is better than yours. That's
Correct.
that's not us like flexing on it. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
I think it's better than everyone's because of the CCL victory. The Crew I mean, they're gonna say they have 2 MLS Cups. You really got one.
You have one.
You got the COVID one, so like maybe counts for 0.5 generously.
Yeah.
You got one
Brian
MLS
Schmetzer
Cup
threw that
and,
too.
And you got Leagues Cup, which like I'm not as much of a Leagues Cup hater as like everyone else in terms of
that can be
like,
your other 0.5.
Yeah, that can be your other 0.5. It's a good trophy, and like no shade as far as the fact that the Crew are arguably the best team in the league right now.
We constantly ride them.
We
on
ride
this
them
pod.
all the time, and Wilfried Nancy specifically, we stand.
We
stand.
Yeah.
That's why this conflict is kind of painful.
He took the Steve C route. That's what just oh my god, it melted my brain because he hit the Steve C. It's the roster build. There's not enough. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, please, Wilfried, you're too good. You are too good
You're
of
the
a
best coach
to
in
hit
the league.
this,
You're
bro.
the best coach in the league.
He hit the coward button, and I can never forgive him for that. Honestly,
it's like there is a lot of arrogance that was at play here.
Yeah.
This was like we disagree with this rule and the way that it's being enforced. So to make a point, we're going to go in this game like smarmily with one goalkeeper and not use the mechanisms we could have to have a second one because we're above all this kind of vibe, right?
Yeah.
That's like what was going on here. And they got owned for it.
Yeah.
They got cooked.
Destroyed.
They cooked themselves.
Yeah.
And that is the most beautiful part of all of it is they did it to themselves.
and out of the Supporter Shield race, which is just even better.
And get bammed on out of the Shield race. No Shield for you guys this year. No
Sorry.
Shield. Sorry. You gift wrapped Seattle the 3 points in this game, and you gift wrapped the Shield to Inter Miami. You may as well deliver the Shield to Inter Miami personally.
Yeah.
You may as well.
Or even Cincy. Like Cincy could come back potentially and hit that. Like how funny is that, man? How funny is that? And also, like, guys, why would we not celebrate that? That's hilarious.
I think Columbus fans just don't understand how glorious it is being on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
If they were in our position, they would definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if the roles were reversed, I would like to think that I would look at it more rationally than their fans.
I think we would
seem
look
to
at the
be.
Roster stuff more rationally. Us, not everyone online.
No, exactly. Like I think the Seattle fan base as a whole, it would probably be just like exact role reversals. But like Columbus fans, I'm telling you, like. You're probably never going to get to experience this just because I don't think any fan base is going to get to experience like this exact scenario ever again because no team is ever going to go into a game without a number 2 goalkeeper ever again. I've never heard of a professional team willingly doing that. It's crazy. That is crazy. Like, I don't care what righteous point you think you're trying to make about the unfairness of the rule. You are putting yourself in a pretty dangerous situation where exactly what happened to them could happen. That can happen. Players get red cards and players get injured. And if you don't have a backup on the roster, especially for like a field player, you just can plug someone in and gut it out. But a goalkeeper, like you end up with Sean Zawatsky in goal. That's what happens, man. That's what it's called. Taste of your own medicine. It's tough. It's tough.
It was their Icarus moment. They flew too close to the sun. They thought they were the shit, and they aren't.
Yeah.
They got the shits again. So.
Anyway, so I don't know. We went hard right there, but I felt like it was merited. Columbus Twitter or Columbus YouTube. If you guys want to keep the dialogue going, by all means, give us the views and drop your thoughts in the comments.
Please post in paragraph form.
Exactly. The thing I would say though is again, like, you have to understand the comedic and entertainment value from our perspective. Yeah, like it is potent. And like, if you are high out of your mind if you think we're not going to laugh at this and revel in it a little bit,
right?
Because like I said, the fact that Seattle has been a mid team this year and Columbus is the standard of the league right now is exactly the point of why it's funny,
right?
Like that's like you can use that as a dunk, but that's literally the reason why the content hits so good for us.
Yep.
Anyway, did you have anything? Did we?
No, I think we hit
right
everything and more. That was an incredible segment.
That was great.
It was
as good as I thought it was going to be. One thing I wanted to let you know, Noah, is that this was actually a hot game for the anti-Rusnak brigade. Because
I did see this.
So you would think it's counterintuitive to think that a game where he scores a hat trick that they would be out and about. And honestly, I think I've come to like this sort of good understanding with the anti-Rusnak brigade where they disagree with how I rate the player, but like we have good rapport ultimately over it. But they were actually out in full force because it was sort of like a lob over the plate for their narrative of like, see, he cooks when it's like
bot squad.
When it's a bot squad, when it's Sean Sawatsky in goal, but look at the LAFC game. He didn't do it against LAFC, but he did it against Sean Sawatsky. So it actually fueled the brigade.
I did see this.
Which, you know, I just think there's two different ways to look at that. Like I'm a more optimistic fan by nature, and I try to have more fun with it. And the way I honestly look at it is when you're given advantageous circumstances, your job is to capitalize on it. Like what Seattle could not do is give Columbus any hope at all in this game. And they did a good job to take full advantage of the situation from the very first kick of the game when the game restarted. Rusnak stuffs the free kick, like leaves they were thorough. They left no doubt about it. They absolutely bammed, which obviously not that hard to do playing against a 10-man side with Sean Sawatsky in goal. But like it would be way, way worse of a talking point if they didn't do that, right? Yeah. Like, so I give credit for taking advantage of the advantageous circumstances to Rusnak and for the team as a whole. That's exactly what that's how you handle it as a professional in that situation.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, the anti-Rusnak brigade out there knows. They've even added me into the group chat. Sorry.
Yeah, you told me that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
They respect.
I'm not joining that chat, by the way, but I'm glad that Noah's in there.
We respect each other's differing opinions. We're like the UN out here for anti-Rusnak brigade. But honestly, man, he did everything he needed to do. I don't really give a shit who you're playing. If they're a bot squad, you should bam on 4 goals, and he did. And it doesn't really matter because the goals were sick as hell anyway.
They were sick as hell. He was torturing Sawatsky.
Yeah.
Like it was a little bit... it was like sad to watch almost at one point. Like that last goal that he hit on him. It's just like, bro, you have you could be in there and face that shot 100 times. You're not going to save it once. Like you are so chalked. You are more chalked than any soccer player I've ever seen. Like not through no fault of his own. Like I said, I actually kind of admired like how Sawatsky did out there. He was competing, and after Rusnak bammed the first free kick, he was like laughing. He was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
here we go. Like I guess this is what we're doing tonight. I thought that I was going to be playing CB like I always do. And now I'm out here facing a free kick from their DP10. Like, all right, pile it on, boys. And they did.
You know, with respect to the rest of the league, Albert Rusnak, 18 combined goals and assists. You know who has 19? Cucho.
Rusnak for MVP?
Rusnak for MVP?
He's at 20 goal contributions in league play.
He's at 20, and that's what I'm saying. It's like
20 plus.
He's going to pass so many legendary Sounders this year with his statistics. So I don't even give a shit who they're playing. Put some respect on our boy's name, okay? Put some respect on our boy's name.
I didn't even mean to open up the whole debate again.
Put some respect on his name. Shout out to Slovakia.
Shout out to Slovakia. Rusnak, I mean, the whole team, like, did their job after that red card. Like I said, man, like when the other team just gifts you the game, you have to take the gift. That's what the Sounders did. I was happy to see it too because of the content. All right, let's hit our agenda check, Noah, and then we'll do questions. I only have 3 written down. Tell me if I missed anything. I got the Georgie one first of all because we've been tracking that one, right? You know, I guess this is kind of hard because it all came when the game was super chalked, but like I'm still in on the Georgie hype train. He had a couple of other nice moments, played pretty well. I like how he can take guys out one-on-one, and I'll call it strengthened.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there was anything to diminish it. Listen, okay, I know this isn't the Georgie. Actually, we'll get to it when we get to the De La Vega agenda, but I love Georgie. I want him to play more minutes. I was sad he didn't like hit, but like Dude, I like him. I like him.
I don't know if he got the secondary for it, but I want to say he played Atencio
him
before
in,
Atencio found Rusnak for the third goal.
He's been goal dangerous.
Yeah, no, it's a fun storyline, and he's been getting interviewed more, and he seems like an awesome kid. So yeah, it's a fun new little story. Second agenda I've got is that the crew are perpetually the victims of MLS or other assorted conspiracies. I mean, they always seem to be in the middle of this, right? You had the CCL final, you had the league conspiring against them so they couldn't have a backup goalkeeper.
They wanted them to lose because they want Messi to win the Shield.
Yeah. So
Don Garber wanted to move them.
I guess this agenda is strengthened.
Yeah.
Apparently,
the poster child club is it's. You win League's Cup, and the league says, we hate you.
I had to throw that one in there. I'm sorry.
Strengthened. To the moon.
De La Vega as the savior, I think pretty much status unchanged.
Maybe a small dip.
Maybe a small dip. I don't know. I feel like we're still, not to say the same thing every week, but like we're still just at this sample size where I'm going to keep holding out hope until... just a simple way that I kind of think of these things is that... I do like a 1,000 minute check-in. That's like the first benchmark that I kind of look at. And so like, I'm kind of going to, gradually formulate my takes as he gets closer and closer to 1K minutes, like 1,000 to 1,200. That's sort of the area.
He hit 350 with this
exactly.
last,
He's still at less than 500, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta see him more. We gotta let him cook. It's good that he's out there playing and getting through these games healthy.
He's played... No, he hasn't even played a full 90, right? Am I wrong there?
Definitely not since like the beginning of the season.
Yeah, no, it doesn't even look like he's played a full 90. So like, what I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm with you then.
Did you have any agendas, or should we hit these questions?
No, I did want to add one more thing to De La Vega though. I was sad to see him subbed off so early.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
I mean, like they're going to do what they think is in the best interest of keeping him healthy and keeping him fit. So
I just feel like he could have gotten one, like even an assist. And I just think that would do so much for his confidence.
It's true. In this, but also like at the same time, you could argue that like once you're up 3 goals, especially like you can kind of just coast and you can take like guys who might be at injury risk or like I was kind of surprised to see Jordan and I think Rusnak was still out there.
Yeah, they were out there.
So I don't know if that was just like I said, it kind of became like a training drill at a certain point. Like I don't think anyone was even sweating in the second half really. But that would be like the counterpoint.
Yeah, no, I see that. I want to see him play so bad. And I just want him to get,
I feel that.
I want him to get his second goal or first assist because that man could be good, but we don't know. Questions?
Yeah, let's hit these questions. What do we got? Thank you to everyone. Yeah, who submitted.
The whole thing mentions cooking, all of that. We'll start here. We hit on this earlier, but I just wanted to acknowledge that I did get some talking points from this and thought it was funny. With the supporter shield on the line and an open roster spot, how on earth do you not sign a keeper for this match if you're Columbus?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. It's a phenomenal question. It's one of the best questions I've ever heard. We're all wondering the answer to that.
Yeah. This one comes from Kenny. Why does Columbus fan base think they deserve a charity spot in the Club World Cup? Should it go to a consistent champion like Club America, not bottlers with little depth?
Is Columbus in the Club World Cup, or is he saying that they think they deserve it?
No, so there's one more spot that MLS, I believe, I think MLS gets to choose who's going to be in that spot, and they haven't announced who or how.
Okay, and Seattle's already
it's the host spot.
Seattle's already in famously as the team that the MLS club that's actually won Champions League. Yeah, I don't know, but like I kind of okay. Here's my take on that. They should get the spot because they're gonna go and lose, and there's gonna be some conspiracy that comes out about why they lost, and I'm down for more of that content.
They wouldn't let them play in Ohio, and so therefore the FIFA hates them and. Infantino, is that his name? Or is he gone now? Whatever. I think it's so funny. I did see a bunch of Columbus fans like earlier, talking about, we're going to be in the Club World Cup because they were thinking they might win the Shield. And there's some rumors and rumblings that the Shield winner might get put in.
I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
And then it goes to, this is a ploy to get Inter Miami in there. Okay,
exactly.
Okay, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
But honestly, like if you take that out of it, I think Shield winner getting this theoretical spot makes sense. Like people are gonna get their tinfoil hats on with that, and I think there probably is an element of forcing Messi into the competition. But like,
I think it should be the Open Cup winner.
Yeah. So it would be
the Open Cup runner-up. I want Sporting Kansas City in the Club World Cup.
So I mean, okay, it would probably be yeah, exactly. That's a good take.
This one comes from Kenneth Wade. Thank you for subscribing, Kenneth. Considering the infinite number of ways this game could have gone, what is the likelihood that this is the absolutely most comical possible outcome?
That's a great question and great point. It was absolutely the most comical possible outcome. Like I said, I still can't believe how blessed we are with how that game went. I was watching the game by myself, and I was literally laughing out loud during the second half.
Yeah, no,
and
I couldn't stop.
And after the red card, when I realized Sawatsky was going in goal, I was like, bro, there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way that they did this and then they got their goalkeeper sent off.
It was like
there is just no way that they did that.
And the best part was, the commentators were hinting at this all game. They wanted this shit so bad. This was like commentator crack for them.
I wanted it, but like, I didn't think there was a way that we would actually get it.
Yeah.
You know, like I was like, oh, that's kind of like they noted it, like you said on the broadcast. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but like, what are the odds that the goalkeeper is going to get injured or sent off? Like, not that high. I really did not think that we would be blessed as such, but lo and behold.
So good. God, this is just, I'm still like smiling ear to ear.
We're on cloud nine if you guys can't tell.
Yeah. So if Columbus owns LAFC, but LAFC owns the Sounders, how likely are we to win the MLS Cup?
Say that one again.
If Columbus owns LAFC, but LAFC own the Sounders, how likely are we to win MLS Cup?
It's a good point. Pretty likely.
Yeah.
Pretty likely.
I think, we just have to hope that LAFC gets knocked out, right?
And then it's anything can happen from there. I mean, you might have to play the Crew in the MLS Cup, but like all you have to do is get their goalkeeper sent off. They're not going to have another one.
Which like we've done it before, so This one comes from Spirit of 74. Does this match support Taylor Twellman's agenda of Sounders only smash on lesser teams, or are the Sounders really cooking right now after getting cooked?
I mean, like, you definitely can't like make judgments on whether they're cooking or not on a game where they were bamming all their goals on Sean Sawatsky. But like the thing is, like the only beat bad teams agenda, we probably should have put that in agenda check.
Yeah.
We can just talk about that right now. The only beat bad teams agenda check is unfortunately going to be strengthened because yes, Seattle bammed in the game, but everyone who wants to poke holes in it or asterisk it can just point to the whole goalkeeper Sean Sawatsky debacle. So unfortunately, there's not all that much of a counterpoint to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was like the most strengthened agenda of all of them in this past week. It's a tough thing to admit, but you know what? You can only play the people in front of you. And we still beat Columbus. I don't really care. Really care, Ari.
I mean, get bammed on.
Exactly.
Get bammed on.
Get smoked.
Get smoked.
Absolutely. This one comes from Rhett. Looking ahead, is it happenstance that the WWE wrestlers are in town the same weekend as Sporting Club professional wrestling enthusiasts? Wait. Oh. Sorry, I read this wrong. WWE's in town next weekend too?
Oh, we should go to that.
Dude, we need to get this. Oh my God. That's awesome.
Good shout, Rhett. Thank you, Rhett, for pointing that out.
We should go dressed as Tim Melia.
Ooh.
Should we, if one of you watching is going to WWE, if you send us a photo dressed up, just like even wearing a Sporting Kansas City shirt, anything, Venmo you some $10. Go for it. That could buy you one beer probably. All right, this one comes from Wicked Wise. Beyond just the goal contributions, is it safe to say that this will be Albert Rusnak's best season of his entire career? What about Jordan Morris's?
I mean, statistically, this is Rusnak's best MLS season, I think, even going back to him. The guy had some really good productive seasons for Real Salt Lake, okay? But, I mean, I think the way he's playing this year and just the output that he's producing right now, like, assuming he stays on the same track for the rest of the season, he might have like a 10-plus goal, 15-plus assist type of year, which is, I mean, that's a great year. And, people are going to say that the hat-trick goals don't count because it came against Sean Sawatsky. Not true. They still put those on the stat sheet.
They do, Ari.
They go towards his stats, and they most certainly do count. So get out of here with that.
They count.
I'm preemptively stamping that one out.
They did that for Jordan last year.
They did that for Jordan and Leo Chu in that game. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works, folks. They count. I honestly like people. Another anti-Rusnak brigade agenda is that he's only cooking this season because it's a contract year. I don't think that's true. I think that he's finally settled into the position that he's playing and has a really good connection with Jordan Morris. And I think Jordan Morris has a really good connection with Albert Rusnak. And I think also, I thought Roldan Christian played great in this game as well. So
Christian and Atencio. I wanted to shout him
Atencio
out.
as well.
Atencio
Yeah,
had a good game.
So I think honestly, at the end of the day, this will be it already is Jordan Morris's statistical best season of his career. Correct? Did he pass his goals?
No, I don't. He had 12 goals as a rookie. He's on 11 right now. But if you add in the Open Cup goal and he scored a few in Leagues Cup, like he is cruising across all comps.
So
but their numbers across all comps are both excellent. Like you can just look at the stats. All right. We'll call it right there for questions. Again, thank you as always to everyone who submitted and gets the discourse flowing. You can always blow up my mentions if you want. And maybe I'll see it. Maybe I'll respond. Anyway, you all are much appreciated. All right. Should we get into some USMNT punditry real quick?
Ari, I'm ready for more Schadenfreude.
All right, yeah, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I did want to report that the U.S. men's national fraud squad was back in action with a friendly against Canada and got bammed on. Emphatically bammed on by Jacob Schaffelberg, first of all. Canada had like 11 MLS players. That's pretty funny.
Yep.
But the main reason I wanted to bring this up was because have you been like following Jesse Marsh's press conferences after the game at all?
He talk about a cooker. Talk about a guy who's in a pressure cooker.
Every time they ask him about like the U.S. job and if there was any like conflict or strife about taking this job or if he wanted the U.S. job, he just goes, no. I don't want that job at all. It's a complete like joke of an organization, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, I'd like the way it's run. Like I'm not, I want no part of that. I'm way happier to be here. I feel like this is a better job. Like I'm vibing with this team. I don't want it at all. And I just think that's so like funny how blunt he is about that. And then I'm also like cook, Jesse. Cook. Like you're right. Like I would take your job over the U.S. job too right now.
Yeah.
Team's better.
People have been calling me a traitor on Twitter because I was celebrating Jacob Schaffelberg bamming on a bunch of Euro frauds.
I'm basically a Canada fan at this point.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm basically a converted Canadian.
Like I like Jesse Marsh. Yeah, like I like Jesse Marsh.
Their team's better. It's more fun.
They're better. They're more fun to watch.
Give me Jonathan David and Kyle Larin over Balogun.
Yeah, all day. And it's like it's so funny too. Also, like honestly, watching that match, I thought it was hilarious how poorly Tim Ream played. Tim Ream played like a bot. He played like a Euro bot.
I didn't really watch that much of the game, to be honest.
Well, that's okay. Tim Ream.
This is good punditry.
Tim Ream basically gave away 2 goals, and I think that it's funny because it's like obviously I'm a very pro MLS narrative guy, but the fact that like Charlotte just signed him goes against. But like I don't count it yet because he hasn't hit 5 matches for Charlotte, so he's technically still a Euro fraud. That's
Tim
my
Ream,
take.
Fulham legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jesse Marsh pressers are funny, and also it's just like, I call them the fraud squad somewhat in jest, but like
they're actually bad.
It's not. And you know what's messed up about it is like I really do still think that there is talent in the pool in a way that like we probably haven't had in past generations. But like the idea of them as like a golden generation is almost like laughable to me at this point.
They're fool's gold.
But like one friendly against Canada does not define them. But like when you take into account like the Copa debacle and just the general continually playing below the sum of your parts, I mean, you can blame Berhalter if you want. That's fine. And hope that Pochettino's gonna fix everything. I just don't. I really I'm not trying to be any type of way about it. I just don't know if these guys are as good as we all thought they were. I'm really questioning it more than I have in the entire time that I've been following this new generation, which is, we followed their entire come up. And I was a big, when they were dominating Nations League, I was as much of a proponent as their upside as anybody.
Balogun made you find God.
Yeah, exactly. We literally did a whole episode where I talk about how he made me find God. And it's really, for me, it's honestly unfortunate how much it's deteriorated, and that's why I joke about it, to cope,
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, now that I've always despised the USMNT fan base just because of sorry folks, I'm gonna cook here, just because they're annoying and dumb, and the national team is so incredibly weird. I don't understand how you could be a fan of only the national team. It's odd to me. But even more than that, the fact that they will literally just hate on a player for no good reason and then find some 12-and-a-half-year-old guy who plays in the Netherlands who has his dad has a US passport, and they're like, guys, okay, I made this highlight reel of this 12-and-a-half-year-old, okay? Hear me out. I think he's going to be the next guy. We got to call him in. And then they're like, oh, Jordan Morris having the season of his life. If he ever touches the field, I will commit a crime.
Yeah, well, the bots are their own type of interesting little subculture that they've got going on there. I don't really, I don't engage with them much, if at all, anymore. I know you still like to poke the hornet's nest from time to time,
a little bit.
But the one thing that I think, what I would say about that is the kind of saving grace is that when the national team is not doing well, they get upset, and that's funny.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm always there for that content.
And also, I'm gonna celebrate if the U.S. do well.
Yes,
I am shameless.
We get to have it both ways. We're going to have
Correct.
our cake and eat it too in that way.
Correct.
I agree. There's really not much talk about with other results around MLS. Seattle was definitely the main character last night. That whole game, they were the stars of the show. Houston and LAFC and Vancouver Dallas both were 0-0 draws, and DC beat Chicago. Benteke took the Golden Boot lead, I think. But I'm not.
That would be
gonna,
so good, dude.
If he wins it for this mid-ass DC side.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. But I'm not even going to do winners and losers because there just wasn't a lot going on. And really, we won.
We did win.
We won. And I don't mean the Sounders. I mean us
personally.
Yeah.
Ari and Noah, winners section.
We won. We're the winners for Matchday 31. I wanted to talk about Caleb Porter's blazing hot presser. I don't know if you saw it, or I retweeted the transcript. Yeah. It was incredible. So Caleb Porter, honestly, man, it was about as hot, if not hotter, than Wilfried Nancy's, which, like I said, to have two of these in the same night was unbelievable. He was mad because New England tied St. Louis City 2-2, and there was a penalty kick call that Caleb Porter should have gotten. He thought that New England should have had a penalty kick. And he called the ref a coward. He said the ref is a coward, which is I just think that's funny because that's what we call people as you coward. We call him as a bit.
If you use the lingo, that's objectively funny.
Exactly. But he wasn't lingoing. He was the ref is legitimately a coward for not awarding us this penalty kick call, which I looked at the call and I think there's a solid argument that it's a penalty. But he had one point that bothered me actually, which is that he said, because we didn't get that penalty, it took 2 points from us. We would have won if that penalty. You don't know that you would have made the penalty. Yeah. He's presupposing you. I get it. It's a high percentage chance that they would have made it, but you don't know what would have happened, or if you score. I don't actually know at what point in the game it was, but if you score a goal to go ahead, that changes what happens for the butterfly effect, man.
Right.
That changes what happens the rest of the entire game, and you can't presuppose what would happen. Yeah. So it's always. Whenever people presuppose stuff like that, I always mentally note it. I'm like, that's not you. Yeah. You don't know what would happen.
Well, it's that classic cowardice from a coach where I love Caleb Porter because he will do anything but take responsibility, right, or just be we didn't play good enough.
He loves doing the
He's actually MLS scheduled this game when the barometric pressure was too high, and therefore the ball didn't float in the right way in the air. And actually, because of the trackers on the back of my players, the 5G, they all got headaches. It's like he cooks.
He likes doing the if Caleb Porter team takes an L, he likes doing we had the greatest performance of all time. We might be the greatest team of all time, but we got unlucky today. But if we keep playing like that, we're gonna win not just the Shield this year, but 5 Shields in a row.
Yeah, we're winning Club World Cup.
Yeah, but anyway,
we should do a. I think at the end of the year we'll do a end of season awards. I think we should create a trophy for best Blazing Hot press conference, and we'll make sure that it gets to the coach. We will mail it out.
I like that. Usually Peter Vermees is the one who delivers this content. There's a few others out there that Schmetz's was pretty hot after the last LAFC.
Oh yeah,
game.
that one was good too.
He would actually be a nominee for that one, but honestly, none of it holds a candle to these back-to-back ones from Wilfried Nancy, Caleb Porter. Go look them both up. I can't recommend it enough. Yeah. All right, let's preview this Sporting Kansas City game. The Sounders are back in action at Lumen Field on Sunday. The Club of Professional Wrestling Enthusiasts is in town. I'll give you the scouting point report on Sporting Kansas City. It's always tough playing Sporting Kansas City because you never know what they're going to do out there. They might hit you with the rock bottom. They might hit you with the full Nelson, suplex, whatever it may be. I mean, anything can happen in a game where Seattle and Sporting Kansas City get together. So
I'm being told that the entire Sporting Kansas City roster will be at WWE Friday Night SmackDown Friday at Climate Pledge Arena.
They probably will. Yeah, their fans might be too. But in all seriousness, Sporting Kansas City, not that good. I mean, they were actually near the bottom of the table for a lot of the season, and they've been playing better lately. But I mean, they're 7-14-7 with a -8 goal differential. Have given up 53 goals this year. They're 2-9-3 on the road. They got a couple good players. I feel like Johnny Russell. I'm predicting Johnny Russell is going to bam in this game because it seems like
he's been on a heater a little bit.
He's been on a heater a little bit, and no matter what the form of the two teams is, whenever Seattle plays Sporting KC, Johnny Russell gets one. Daniel Salaway is a pretty good player. Alan Polito, he's been hurt a lot this year. I don't even know if he's available right now, but if he is, he's a decent MLS number 9 when he plays. He just doesn't play that much.
Yeah.
So there are guys in attack that can hurt you, but this team does not defend very well. They've conceded 50+ goals. Playing them at Lumen, I mean, you should win this game. This should be a dub.
Yeah,
really,
has to be.
It should be a dub. And one thing I was going to bring up too on that note is that Seattle moved up to 5th, right?
Yeah.
With this win,
they basically got the best possible result from everyone else out of the table.
And there is an opportunity to make a play here, to get in the top 4 and maybe up towards 3rd, man.
Yeah.
Because if you just grant that these teams, Real Salt Lake and Colorado, and even outside chance LAFC, if you grant that they're going to drop a few points along the way here, Seattle has the Club of Professional Wrestling Enthusiasts on Sunday. They have the Quakes on my birthday after that.
We should go down for that.
It's here. And then I'm pulling up the schedule
Houston
right now.
on the 28th.
Houston
at
also
Vancouver
at Lumen.
Yep.
So, but Sporting KC, San Jose, and Houston all at home.
Doable.
You could get 9 from that. I don't know if it's likely based on how this season's gone, but if you play up to your full potential and ability, those are all winnable games is my only point. So there is an opportunity presented to make a serious play and get up the table here. And so let's see if they can take advantage of that.
I hope so.
All right. We had a couple other things to hit. I guess just one YouTube commenter, right?
I saw this YouTube comment, and honestly, I like the format of YouTube because you can type, I think, unlimited characters in there. So people really get to diverge their full take. But one of our YouTube commenters had said this about our last episode, specifically the Taylor Twellman segment, where you were defending Jordan Morris. So here we go. I'm just going to read this out. The phrase I think you're looking for in cognitive sciences terms is confirmation bias.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was right.
I'm glad you noticed that I was looking for that.
Yeah.
Damn it.
You already have a bias and you look for the data to support it.
Yes.
So yes, thank you. Gets into his cook here. While I generally agree with your takes, especially re the roster build, I wholly disagree with you using old data to support your argument. In fact, in sports, you're only as good as your last outing. Wish you had stuck with this season and focused more on just goals and assists they've created with plenty of big chances this year. But I think that that's true, but also Taylor Twellman's argument was predicated on he's never been good. Jordan Morris has never been good in the big moments.
I don't think TT would agree with that. I think his point was that he's never been good as the lone nine.
Yes.
Never been good as the lone nine. Not that he's not been a good player or necessarily a big game player, but he can't carry the load as the nine. So I guess like in that way, the take of like, can Jordan Morris score in big games might not actually be as relevant to what he was talking about. But like, even outside of the TT take, there has been a pervasive thing of like Morris and Rusnak are feasting on the bad teams and they're not scoring against and they're not producing against the good teams. And the counterpoint that I was trying to make is that throughout their careers, especially Jordan Rusnak, like I followed him decently close on RSL, but I can't speak to it as much.
Yeah.
But like go look back through Jordan's entire MLS career and he scored in the biggest games against good teams in CCL for the national team against Mexico and in World Cup qualifying. Like this idea that he is a like merchant that only feasts against low level competition. It's just never been true. It wasn't true when people tried to do it for the U.S. national team, like to undermine his U.S. national team production. And it's not true about his MLS career at all. So that's what I was talking about with that. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's meant by using old data to support your argument. I
think you were talking about, he's won these trophies. He scored in these big games.
Right.
He's been, without him, they wouldn't be in the position that they were at, which was directly addressing Taylor Twellman's thing. What I think we can also take from this is like, yeah, look at this year, man. It doesn't really matter if it's a big opponent or a small opponent. There's points being got from Jordan Morris, and maybe you can use him as a centerpiece. And also, at the end of the day, he's having one of the best seasons of his entire career. So, Taylor Twellman, your agenda has been checked.
Yeah. Well, it's real quick. I know we got another comment from someone who said that like they didn't like that we spent the time that we did on the TT take because he doesn't represent the fan base. And what I would say to that is that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Like if you're only focusing on what represents the fan base, you're getting a narrow perspective, and you're also getting what is often an emotional perspective. That's why I like to zoom out and look at what the national pundits are saying and see if their takes align with how I see things, because they're coming at it from an entirely different lens. I don't think it's very informative or instructive at all to only look at the perspective from the fans that are emotionally invested in it and follow it day to day.
Correct.
Like and part of that is because I'm like a media junkie and I'm always like looking at the news and stuff, and I can't help it. But I do think like there's times where the national pundits dish takes that I think are interesting to talk about. So we're going to keep doing that. Matt Doyle wrote a whole column, shout out Armchair Analyst, on MLSsoccer.com.
We got to get him on.
We do, yeah. About it's like a new era of what it's going to look like for Seattle. I can encourage everyone to read it because, again, he's been sort of a proponent of like that the Craig Weibs wait and see approach and not cooking in this transfer window right away was actually like the right way to approach the roster build, like considering the De La Vega injury and the fact that they don't know what type of running mate to sign for De La Vega because they don't even know if he's good or going to be productive yet.
Yeah.
So like there it's just, you don't have to agree with it, but like these are good points, guys. Like these are things that Craig Weibs and like the organization, like you don't have to agree, like I said, with them not signing anybody, but it's stuff that they would be irresponsible not to think about. Like they just would. And so that's not defending the approach to the transfer window at all. That's just like kind of Doyle did a good job, I thought, of laying out the type of stuff that like a GM and an owner have to think about when they're scouting and doing signings and managing their roster. And it's not always like as black and white as people make it, I guess, is my point. And that's another reason why monitoring the national pundits can be beneficial, because they'll bring up stuff like that you might not have thought about.
And remember, you don't always have to do it. You just got to listen to Lobbing Scorchers. We'll spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, exactly. I'll always keep you guys like appraised of what the national pundits are spouting off about. Anyway, thanks for that comment. Thanks to all the YouTube commenters.
There was a lot of good ones on there this week.
Yeah, there's some good ones. And you guys like feel free to let it rip. Like we want the engagement, but we also like it's good discussion. And like we're fully aware too. Like we get on here and we fire our takes from the hip.
We're wrong all the time.
We're wrong all the time. So like it's like no
hard feelings.
Like no hard feelings if you cook us. We really don't care. We love it. All right, I think we're good to call it there for episode 63. That was a great time. That was probably one of my favorite shows that we've ever recorded. This was my favorite game of the season, my favorite dub of the season. I don't really see it being surpassed unless Seattle goes on like a crazy playoff run where they upset somebody or something. It was hilarious. The Sounders beat the best team in the league with a center back in goal, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, no, top 5 Sounders moments for me
of the last couple years, at least. For sure.
No, it's like, in the top 5 for me now. Officially,
it's a historic dub.
Like it's just for me personally. I'm not saying that every Sounders fan is going to feel the same. For me personally, God, that was so good.
Not because of the significance of the points or anything, like just because of the content.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that's really what we're concerned about.
Exactly.
Here. All right. We'll call it right there. Thank you so much, as always, to everyone tuning in to the podcast and our new audience on YouTube. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, write us a review.
Share with Wilfried Nancy.
To the YouTube. Share with Wilfried Nancy. Share with the Columbus Crew fan base. I'm sure they're going to be popping off in the comments. We will see you next time on episode 64. Until then, we out.
Peace.